Hello folks, and welcome to the channel, or welcome back. And this is already part number 3, where we're going to install the drywall onto the frame we installed in part number 2. And the drywall that I'm installing is what we call ABA. And ABA means that it has two sides in the length that are thinner. So you can see it goes down here, and that allows you to put the joint filler in. You can get also drywall which is having that indent all around on all the four edges. And that is great whenever the panels are not tall enough for you and you need to extend it upwards, then you should get the other type. I'm going for the 12.5 millimeters, so 1.2 centimeters. I think this is about half an inch. That's quite thick and strong enough. We're going to screw this onto the studs. Now, you cannot nail this. This is the only drawback. You will have to screw this onto the studs with very specific screws. There's two approaches to the screws. You can do it with a screw gun, and then you get these strings of screws that you can place into that automatic screwdriver. It almost looks like an ammunition belt. Screws come in different lengths, so it depends a bit on how thick the drywall is. Some people put two layers of drywall, then of course you need longer screws. Or you can have all separate screws. Oops, it hurts because they're sharp, like these. And those you can then use on your normal screwdriver. I prefer to have an electrical screwdriver because by hand that's not going to work, because you have to get them into the metal, but they have a very sharp pin at the beginning. So if you're using an electrical screwdriver, that will just do the job. But I'm a lazy guy, so I like the automatic way. So if you have a standard electrical drill, you can use that with a standard Phillips tip on it. This is going to work, right? You can do this very easily. However, you can buy a bit which will decouple the screw as soon as it's sunk into the drywall a bit. So that is handy because the screw head has to be below the surface of the drywall, because otherwise you cannot put the joint filler up or the joint filler. And this is the other tool I was referring to. This is the tool that allows you to continue screwing the different screws on the different positions, because they are on a belt like this, and you can see I already have used these. Very handy. This is a great tool if you have to do a lot of drywall placement. Otherwise it's not worth the money. But on the farm I have used this already a hell of a lot. So for me it was worth the money. So I have a piece of plywood right here in the corner, and all I need to do now is screw it down. Done. These machines are quite good, but sometimes they act up. Like in this case. And that's especially in a corner where you're not going real straight, but no big deal. We'll screw it in further with our normal screwdriver. There we go. The next thing is putting up this panel right here, and therefore I'm going to measure it from the top to the floor. Remember, we have a seal on the floor, that piece of plastic, so it's not sitting on the floor itself. And we have, of course, those beams we need to consider, so that's the kind of stuff we need to cut out. So let's measure it. I like to measure always in the middle of the panel. I always like to cut on the side that's going to be visible. So we need to flip it over. And I know these boards are damaged a little bit because I've had them so long in storage. But if you do store them, make sure you store them on a pallet so they stay straight, and keep them dry. So 221. All right, so this is where we're gonna cut it off. I like to use my square angle, and I just go along with a cutting knife. You don't need to cut all the way through. About 3 pulls is good enough, depending how much force you have. And then the only thing we need to do is flip it over, and you can see it already kind of cracked. And then we go along. That's how easy it is. Now, obviously, we can't just install the panel right away because we got those beams on the top. So I'm placing the panel where it belongs, and now I can mark it, and I'm going to cut out the beams. And I'll check the beam. I think they are typically 12. Yeah. So I'm going to go 12 down on both sides. It's better to cut a little bit more than not enough, otherwise you have to do it twice. Now you can cut this out with a knife if you want. But if you have a jigsaw, it makes it a lot easier. Now that should fit perfectly. So let's see if this is gonna fit. It should normally. All right. And I think this is a perfect fit. This is where our socket will be. So I drilled the hole already and we have a tube inside. All I need to do now is to insert the plastic insert and then we can connect the socket. So on the wall I have the green version and I have the gray version, but there is no particular reason why I have the difference on the two. I could have used just gray, but I had a lot of leftovers, so I decided to use those. Where I live, drywall typically comes in two different types. We've got the green boards and we have the gray boards. The green boards is what we call water resistant, so those are suitable for humid rooms like in bathrooms, and the gray ones are not suitable for that purpose. If you look closely to the green ones, you will see very small little fibers inside, and that's what makes it a lot stronger and more water resistant. You're not gonna see this on the gray version. If you have a outside corner, then you should really enforce the corner, because otherwise anybody bumping into it will actually chip the board. Now remember, we talked about the boards before where we had ABA boards where the edges are kind of less thick. So that is where you then can put a corner rail like this. And that's a metal piece that you put in there, and then you put the joint filler up on both sides. They come in different types and different shapes. So this is just one, a very rigid one. I'm not too keen on those. And this is the other type, which I like a lot better, because that is allowing more of the joint filler to come through the little holes, and I think it's a little bit more flexible and you can push it in a bit deeper. So this is what we have to install on the corners here around the window frames. Where the panels come together on that joint, first of all, you will have to install a fiberglass tape, and this is adhesive, so it's easy to put it on there, and then we will put on top of that the joint filler. Now I know you can get these bands as well in paper or in forced paper, but I believe that the fiberglass tapes are a lot better. We're going to need joint filler and we're going to need joint finisher. Now the joint filler has a number behind it, and a 45 means it's going to last you 45 minutes and then it's getting hard. So don't make too much of it at the same time. And then the joint finisher is having a much longer open time, but this is a very smooth finish, very easy to sand. But the first thing you need to apply is the joint filler. And applying the tape, that's pretty easy. Oh, sorry folks, I forgot to turn on the camera, but here I'm applying the joint filler with a specific spattle, and spatels come in all kind of forms and shapes. Now you might notice that the joint filler is not very liquid and it's not very stiff either. So it's a bit like solid marmalade, let's say. Here I'm using another spattle. I like that one better, but that's entirely up to you, and you don't need to make it perfect from the first go. Keep in mind that it's gonna fall back down a little bit, so it's always better to put a little bit more up. So these are the extra strength corners, or the reinforcement, and I've cut them already to length. And all what we need to do now is plaster them into place. I also have one for the top, and I have one on the bottom. So I'm going to start with the side ones. And the way we're going to do this is by applying a lot of joint filler first on the edges. And remember that the panels are placed in such a way that the thinner part is coming together on the corner. So I'm going to fill that up, and then I'm going to press this bar into it, and then we're going to smoothen it up. Now for that, the joint filler has to be a little bit more stiff. So let me prep it and then we'll do it. So let's apply it. You'll see I'm going to apply it fairly thick. You can use whatever you want to apply it, but make sure it's thick enough. And we do it on the full length. All right, so we're almost there. On that side at least, but we also have to do the other side. So you need to do both sides. It doesn't take too long. And remember, you got 45 minutes, so don't make too much of that stuff, because otherwise it's going to be hard and you won't be able to use it anymore. So that is it. Now I'm going to take the reinforcement piece and we're going to push it really nice into place so that the joint filler is coming through all the little holes. And once that is fine, we just skim it. And don't worry about it if it's not perfect. This is the first run anyway. And now we skin it on the inside. It's not very complicated to do. It just takes a little bit of practice. All right. And that is it. Now I can do the next one. The joint filler is now dried up, and you can see it actually on the color. If it's all the same color, then you know it's dry. I let it dry for about 48 hours, and now we can actually sand it. And I like to use a electrical sander. Those are very handy, but of course, if you don't have one, you can also use a flat block like this. And the grit I'm going to use is a 120. That has worked just fine for me all along. And if you're going to use a sander, then it's handy to have a vacuum cleaner with it, which you can attach to your sander. And that way, you're going to get not too much dust in the room because it's going to become dusty. And if you're going to invest in a sander, then buy one with an adhesive pad and a pad that you can change. You can see the pad here has been damaged before, often by little nails or whatever. But this is the handy stuff and it's really very helpful. So this is my P120. We got little holes. In fact, this whole sander will suck itself to the wall. And that's about it. Afterwards, I'm going to skim it. Now, if you had areas that were a little bit deeper and you could actually feel it, then you can add a little more joint filler to it. So we are finished sanding the walls. And you can see it's looking quite all right, although we have some small imperfections. And as you remember, this is the metal part we put on the outside corner. And obviously we have these little imperfections here and there. And this is a bit of a bigger one. It's not a big deal. It's not very deep. So we're going to put up the joint finisher on top of that and that will all disappear. Now, if it was more than that, then you would have to apply another bit of joint filler first. And now it's time for the joint finisher. And I'm going to skim the entire surface. So some people just do it on the seams where you have the joint filler, but I like to do it over the entire surface. It takes a little bit longer, but it gives you a very nice result. For that, we're going to use a knife, as we call it, and then we apply it on the walls and we try to make it smooth. It doesn't really matter if you have a ripple here and there, because we will have to sand it at the end again. Now, if you're really good in skimming, then basically you won't have to sand it almost. But I am not all that good on it. So let's start. I'm going to mix it. And it's going to be not very thin, not very thick either. It's going to be a little bit like a marmalade, really. And then we'll just apply it on the walls after you have dusted off the walls, because you can't have dust on the walls, because otherwise this is not going to take very well. You know, if you've been sanding with a vacuum cleaner, then you don't have a lot of dust on the walls anyway. So that's the good thing about that vacuum cleaner use. So here is my joint finisher, and we're just gonna spread it on the wall and spread it nicely open. And I see you have a little piece in here that is not really well mixed, but it doesn't matter. We can deal with it. If you rub it enough, it will work. So that's why it's important really to rub it and mix it very well, because otherwise you're gonna get these little things like you just saw. So folks, we are done. As you can see, I have skimmed all the walls and now they can dry. So folks, this is it for this video. In the next video, we're going to sand it again, and then we're going to paint it and wrap up the room, installing some plinths and some other small stuff. I hope that you enjoyed it as much as I did, and please, by all means,